What if I told you that the difference between doing this and this could be a full letter grade difference in your classes? What's up, y'all? My name is Arthur Ridley, and I used to be a really bad student, and now I'm a really good student, and so it's my job to teach you guys and give y'all tips on how to become a better student. And the way we're going to do that today is I'm going to tell you about the easiest possible thing you can do with genuinely minimal effort that will instantly make you a better student. And in case it wasn't obvious, that's going to be where you choose to sit in class. Now, this topic isn't a secret or something that's been unexplored by any means. I'm sure you've heard multiple times throughout your life that all of the smart, really good nerds sit in the front and they get all the A's, and then all of the hopeless chuds with no future sit in the back and play Clash Royale on their phone all day. But consider this. What if it was actually the other way around? What if it wasn't that the smart people sit in the front, but rather sitting at the front is actually what makes them smart? I know, crazy concept, right? Pretty much the topic of this video is going to be me trying to convince you that if you want to maximize your potential as a student with absolutely no downsides other than maybe some anxiety stuff that obviously gets better with time, you need to be sitting in the front of the class. There is no reason not to do so. It exclusively gives you benefits as a student to be sitting at the front, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, I have plenty of anecdotal experience with this topic, and I can tell you just from my personal experiences, sitting at the front of the class and making an effort to do so made a world of difference for me as a student. But before I talk about all that stuff and before I kind of get into what my personal experiences were, we're going to set up some of the research behind this. In case you're interested, I'm going to be linking all of these studies in the description below. So by all means, go in there and fact check me. If you're kind of curious about this and want to know more, all of these studies are really great reads, and I would highly encourage you checking them out. The first piece of evidence we're going to be looking at comes from this study from Benedict and Hoag, I hope I'm saying this right, in 2004, published in the Journal of Economic Education. Pretty much in layman's terms, what they find is that you have a 23% higher chance of getting a D or an F if you are a student that sits in the back of the classroom. Conversely, students that were forced to sit farther forward than their preferred back row seat tended to receive higher grades, including significantly more A's. Another study, we have my favorite author et al. On this one. Will et al. 2020 claims that grades drop 0.75 percentage points per row when you sit in the back. Just to kind of visualize this, let's say that my glasses are the instructor. Let's say pen is the first row. Let's say granola bar wrapper is the last row. And let's say AirPod case is the final row in the back. Pen, you have a 0.75% decrease in your grades. That compounds another 0.75 at granola bar. And then lastly, at AirPods, you're pretty much fucking hopeless and you need to drop out of school. And then lastly, some of our most compelling evidence. This study here claims that front row seating produced learning gains between 5% and 27%. That's compared to students seated further back. While this study didn't look specifically at college students, it sampled 1,907 grade 6 students across 72 different schools. Now I know that you as a college student, your brain might be a little bit more developed, and ain't that much more developed, and I think the finding is probably safe to assume that that's relatively true in our case as well. Now that we have a couple of objective figures and facts on these, and we kind of know for a fact that sitting at the front does yield better outcomes as a student than sitting in the back, we can kind of start to think about why it works. And I think this is where more subjective anecdotal accounts really come into play. I think from my point of view, transparency is going to be key here. And so I don't think it would be fair for me to sit in front of the camera and tell you that you need to be doing this if I don't have any credibility. So for the sake of credibility, I'm going to put my transcript from, I believe it was spring 2024 or spring 2023, one of my semesters where I was a really shitty student. And then I'm gonna put my transcript records from the next semester where I kind of made a disciplinary choice, and I told myself, no matter what, I was going to try my best to be a good student. I was finally going to go for that 4.0, and I was going to do all of the things necessary to get there. And by no means was sitting at the front the only thing I did to go from that semester to the much better semester, but it was a significant thing for me. And making the choice and kind of showing myself that I had the discipline where even if I felt a little bit more anxious about sitting at the front, just being able to make the choice myself and telling myself, okay, I'm gonna give myself the best opportunity to succeed was a really big thing for me. And then all of the other benefits after that came along with it. But the first thing for me was really just making that choice. In terms of how you actually benefit from sitting at the front, a huge thing for me was that my distractions were limited. You know, before, if I'm sitting in the back, I might be scrolling on my phone, I might be on Twitter, I might be on Instagram, I might be on Clash Royale, I might be on TikTok. Whatever your drug of choice is, you have a much higher chance to be on it. A big thing for me is whenever I started sitting at the front, I felt all of the eyes on me. I started feeling judged. If I was on my phone and I have 60 students sitting behind me, and it doesn't matter if this is a small class or a huge lecture hall, if I have eyes on the back of my head and I know they're probably not paying attention and they're watching what I'm doing, I feel judged. If I'm sitting there on my laptop and I'm on Amazon, or I'm on Stream East, watching the game, or if I'm on my phone doing some bullshit, I feel a lot more pressure to actually pay attention, knowing I'm being judged by the people behind me. And that kind of leads me to the next point, where aside from other students judging you, because that's kind of a finicky point anyways, the professor is right there. You feel a lot more pressure to pay attention also with the professor when you're making more eye contact. I feel like I was a lot more likely when I started sitting at the front to raise my hand and to actually talk with the guy. I knew if I was gonna sit there and be in front of everybody, specifically the professor, I wasn't gonna go on my phone. I was not gonna start scrolling, because this is somebody who is in a position of respect, who's taking time out of their day to teach me. If I'm all the way in the back of the class, he's probably not paying attention to me anyways. If I'm the guy at the front that is making an active effort to raise my hand and make eye contact, I am significantly less likely to get distracted. And I know I'm kind of all over the place right now, but if I had to sum up the biggest reason why I'm so adamant about sitting at the front is that I think it solves a lot of the problems we face as college students all in one fell swoop, where it solves the technology problem. Obviously, if you have your laptop up, you're not taking notes the entire time. Unless you're particularly disciplined, sure, that's you. The majority of us have another tab open and we're doing some bullshit. It helps with that. It helps with the accountability point of view from the professor, where you're just so much more likely to actually engage with the person who's there to teach you if you're in the front and you're able to look directly at him and create some type of silent relationship, at least, where you're not just a ghost in the back. And I think that sitting in the front just solves so many of these small issues that end up compounding up to where it ends up just being an overwhelming positive if you're trying to maximize your learning ability. Now, obviously, motivation matters too. And if you're a shitty student with shitty habits, sitting at the front is not gonna magically solve everything. But it sure as hell isn't gonna make anything worse, where it's not gonna help you if you still check out of every lecture or you only attend half your classes, That's a funny guy conceptually, the guy that shows up to only half of your classes but is always the most engaged person and is always sitting at the front. But really, it's not an end-all be-all cure everything, but it is something that you can do with literally minimal effort that only comes with positives. So I know right now, as of the time I'm recording this, we're in the summer, and you might be taking a summer class, but right now is the time to kind of teach yourself how to be a better student. So that fall semester's coming, you can't run from it. That fall semester's coming. And when it gets here, I really encourage you, if you're a student that typically sits in the middle or sits in the back or whatever it is, make yourself vulnerable. Go out and make yourself seen, even if it's just for the first couple days of class. And I swear, I promise, you will see a difference. Just challenge yourself. For the first week of classes, make the mental effort to get there 15 minutes early and get the best seat in the house. Right there, right in the middle, very front middle. That's the GOAT spot. That was my GOAT spot for all of my last couple semesters. And those were my most successful semesters. Also, that leads us into like another little tidbit where, you know, in college, seats obviously aren't assigned, but they're low-key assigned. You know what I mean? So you need to do this early. You can't just show up for finals review or for like the third month of classes and then suddenly claim your seat in the front, because, you know, your competition is sitting there, and they're sitting there gaining knowledge and learning and absorbing and making a relationship with the professor while, you know, you're sitting in the back on ChatGPT or what you know, whatever it is you do. But yeah, I think that's pretty much gonna do it for me. Like I said, the point of this channel is to help out other students not make the same mistakes I did. And so I thought this would be a great, quick little informative video I could get out of something that genuinely takes you zero effort, unless you're like with diagnosed anxiety. I've brought that up a lot. I understand that's a thing, but like, and I'm very empathetic towards that, but truly, it only gets better with time. Let me not get derailed. I have such a bad habit of getting derailed in these. But yeah, I really just wanted to get a quick little video out and give you guys one of the biggest pieces of advice that actually helped me out and that I saw true, tangible results from. Of course, this was coupled with other things, but, you know, you gotta start somewhere. So yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I guess this is the part where I say like and subscribe for more. I'm gonna be trying to drop more of these educational type videos. So yeah, if you enjoyed, if you thought it was a good listen, I'd love if you could leave a comment. I'd love if you stuck around. And yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Deuces. Oh shit. I might have to get out the stool.